Hello everyone, I'm MVL and welcome to an episode of Game Hunting. We're here in Game Zone Plymouth where if I had the space, I would take that Lara Croft statue home, definitely. Now this place is stacked with retro goodness from NES to SNES to Nintendo 64, Mega Drive and some modern games as well. And if you want to see a more in-depth look at this place, I did a shop tour of this place which you can check out on my channel. There's the PS2 Contra. Now I'm moving over things pretty quickly because I'm just hunting and looking at what I want to buy right now. I'm not doing a shop tour at the time. As I mentioned, you can check that out on my channel. I've already done a video of that. But this place has a ton of great stuff, so it's always good to take a look in here and see what they've got. There's some awesome Game Boy stuff and Lemmings for the Game Boy, which looks awesome. I did pick up a Game Boy game, but I am seeing some stuff here that, man, I should have picked up. And you'll see my pickups at the end of the video if you stick around to the end. There's some PlayStation stuff there, some pretty good PlayStation games here. And there's Shining Force. I have that, but I don't have it boxed. And here we see Mega Swiv. Now that's £30, which is a reasonable price for it boxed and in good condition, but I'm feeling pretty good about previously picking it up for $15. I did pick up a Mega Drive game, which I will show you as well at the end. I will also mention that I'm being mindful of customers here as well and trying to keep out of their way, which is another reason why I'm being like Sonic and I've got to go fast. Now we're looking at some Sega Saturn, Game Gear and Dreamcast, some of my smaller collections, so I really need to bulk out on them. Taking a look at some of their PlayStation games, they certainly have a great choice of games here. I don't know how I missed the next Tetris, I really would have picked that up, as I pick up Shaolin and Domino Knockdown every other game in the shop. This looks pretty cool. So what I walk away with is Nemesis on the Game Boy, Shaolin on the PlayStation 1 and Crackdown on the Mega Drive. Next up we check out Tech Outlet in Plymouth. Now this place was really cool. They have a fantastic range of retro and modern gaming, but what really surprised me is they have a ton of vintage PC content in their cabinets, which I'll show you as well. It is really impressive. Next up we have some Game Boy, some Game Gear and some Mega Drive games over here. Alicia Dragoon caught my eye. It's a great game, but I actually already have it in the box. I did in fact pick up a Game Boy game and you'll see that at the end of the video in my pickups. Next up we have some NES games and I also picked up one of these, and I will say that the Jackie Chan game I had seen in several different places on the day for more expensive, so it's always worthwhile checking out everywhere you can to get the best possible deal. They have some more modern stuff here, Xbox 360, Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 3, but what really got me going was the retro PC stuff. This is awesome and you hardly see this out in the wild, so it's really cool to see a place that has such a wide variety of it. There's more in the other cabinets which I'll get to as well. In the next cabinet we have some DS, some 3DS, PlayStation Vita and Nintendo Switch, before we move on to the bottom of the cabinet and the next cabinet which have some more retro PC goodness. This is definitely a place I need to come back to and check out these retro PC games in more detail, because this is right up my street. Here I'm looking at Golden Axe on the Atari ST with some awesome cover art that looks amazing. And speaking of amazing, you'll want to check out the Commodore 64 version of Golden Axe. The Wilderness theme is epic. And speaking of epic, more retro PC. Oh, my heart is happy. You also have some Super Nintendo here and N64. There's Savage for $2.99. I really should have picked that up. And Athena should have picked that up as well, just for that cover art, which looks sweet. Some more great games here for the Super Nintendo, Starwing and Illusion of Time, also known as Illusion of Gaia overseas. I actually have that game in the box, but I'm missing the manual, so I've got to grab that to make it complete. Super Mario All-Stars there, and some Nintendo 64 games and some in the box. I really do have to get back here because I know I missed out on some fine games to add to my collection. And this place is too much to take in one go, that's for sure. So let's move on to some more modern stuff. Here's some original Xbox. I'm a big fan of original Xbox and it's a good time to pick it up because it's so cheap. Here's Armed and Dangerous for £1.49 and I have no idea why I didn't pick that up for that price. That's insane. Here we have some GameCube games, and here I'm looking at Tales of Symphonia. That's a little too rich for my blood, but certainly the kind of game that I'm out and about looking for, because I love RPGs. and there's some more original Xbox on the other side of this shelf. In the footage here, I can see Dead to Rights, which I've been looking for, but I totally missed when I was actually there. Sometimes you get tunnel vision when you're recording. I also see Conker's Live and Reloaded, which is another great original Xbox game. Next up, we have some Sega Saturn games and a fine selection of boxed Mega Drive games, including Power Rangers there, which I did think about picking up. And then we move on to some Master System as well down at the bottom. Shadow of the Beast has an amazing cover. I already have that, and I just picked it up because of the cover, because it looks like a heavy metal album. Here's a quick look at the PlayStation 2 they had on offer, along with the Wii, Wii U, and Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and things like that, but I gravitated towards the PlayStation 1. They had some good stuff here. Again, I somehow miss a Tetris game, and I looked at this fighting game right here, which looked pretty sweet. Probably should have picked that up. There's a ton of wonderful PlayStation 1 games here. The next game I look at is Fade to Black, which was only $3.99, and for some reason, for the life of me, I don't know why, I didn't pick that up, even though it looked kind of interesting. And there's Road Rash, which I don't have for the PlayStation 1, and I totally missed it. On to PSP, I picked up a RPG called Blade Dancer. Now there's a funny story about this pickup, which you can see at the end of the video, but I forewarn, it's adults only. Next up, I checked out Cash Converters in Plymouth. Now, I had to be pretty quick through here because even though no one objected to me filming, there were 3 members of staff that were very much giving me a lot of attention while I was filming, so I got the impression that I had to be pretty swift while going through here. Regardless, they have a lot of good stuff in these places, so they're certainly well worth checking out. Here's a bunch of Wii games, they had Wii U games, 3DS games, and on the PlayStation they had this game Silent Bomber, which I picked up for $1.99. It's got shooting, it's got explosions on the back. What more could you want? I checked out Cancer Research in Plymouth, and they had a lot of these, I think they're Skylander figures. They were £1 each, and I think I actually should have picked them up to trade them into somewhere like CEX, because I might have got more in store credit to get something I actually want. Lastly, I check out Computer Base in Plymouth. Now they have a section called the Retro Corner, where they display a bunch of old computers, joysticks, and games as well, although the prices are pretty steep. I suspect these are priced to be display, and they probably don't actually want to sell them. They also had Golden Axe here, but it's really sun faded. Admittedly, this looks like the same stuff I saw on display here when I was last in Plymouth, when I was filming the shop tour for Game Zone Plymouth, and that was quite a while ago, so I don't really think they're looking to sell these. I think they are for display. Regardless, it's still really cool to see these. They're wonderful to look at. If they were a little bit cheaper, I really would have considered picking one of them up. I had my eye on this Duke Nukem collection, but I still picked up a ton of great stuff today, so let's check that out. So what did I pick up? Well, first up, from Tech Outlet in Plymouth, I picked up Castle of Dragon for the NES. Now this game was not released in Europe. Pretty glad to get my hold on any NES game because they're a little harder to come by around here. From what I understand, this is not a great game. In fact, it's probably not a good game. Nevertheless, still pretty glad to pick it up because I probably wouldn't find it anywhere else out in the wild anyway. So pretty happy about that. Next up, from the same place, I got Wizards and Warriors X Fortress of Fear. Now this is a side-scrolling platformer, part of the Wizards and Warriors series. Pretty cool to pick this up, happy about it, looks like a good game, so I'm excited about that. Next up, for the PSP, from the same place yet again, I got Blade Dancer. Now this game looks pretty cool, it's a 3D RPG, excited about that, but the funny thing about this is I didn't get the manual in here, instead I got a page that looked like it was tore out from a Japanese hentai, which is Le Blue Girl Returns. Now I'll show you it, because in fairness, it's not that bad. You can't see anything on this particular page from this manual. I've in fact probably had as bad, if not worse, art books from Japanese games before, so I'll show you this, but getting this instead of the manual was pretty bizarre, I would say. So the guy at the counter saw this and thought, you know what, that's not so bad, I'll give him that. Weird. Anyway, so I got that instead of the manual. That was crazy. Nevertheless, moving on to Game Zone Plymouth, I picked up Crackdown for the Sega Mega Drive. Really cool shooter. Love shooters. Excited to get this game. Looks pretty cool. A Game Boy game that I have been looking for, I also picked up from there. Nemesis for the Game Boy. Really cool scrolling shooter. I love shooters. This is awesome. Glad to pick that up. I have been looking for it. And another game I picked up that I was not looking for was Shaolin for the PlayStation. Don't know a lot about this game. It's a fighting game, but love picking up obscure games I don't know anything about, and I probably wouldn't see this anywhere else, so I decided to pick it up. Now lastly, from Cash Converters in Plymouth, I picked up Silent Bomber. I got this for a really cheap price, even though I'm not sure they liked me filming in there. There were 3 members of staff that were kind of eyeing me while I was going around in there, so I had to be pretty swift. But this looks pretty cool. Interesting looking game, Silent Bomber for the PlayStation. And that's it. If you liked the video, please leave a like or a comment to let me know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content. And if you'd like to, you can also support me on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you for watching. I've been MVL, and I will catch you next time.